So thank you everyone for coming tonight. As most of you know now, we're doing these empowerment talks, we're trying to do once a month as a give back just to the community. So the money that you've given in tonight will go to Vicky, to your charity of choice. Yeah. Charity called PANTRY, so it's supporting Australian farmers. Yeah. So yeah, awesome initiative. Thank you very much for your contribution. Awesome. So Vicky's here, she's actually my fitness trainer. She's been helping me since I had my bub every week, even though I hate burpees. Love-hate relationship. But over the time I've got to know Vicky, and she's a whole food chef, qualified. She did an amazing course at one of the top schools over in WA, and she's a food coach as well, and her knowledge is phenomenal around food and how it works in the body and why we should be eating what we're eating, and also the quality of different foods. You know, you can have 3 of the same food and one can be really bad for you and another can be really good for you. So yeah, we just wanted to have Vicky along to share. She's running this amazing course that she'll talk about later, which I've signed up to. So excited. Can't wait to get going on it. But yeah, I'll just let you know. Thanks for having me tonight. So hi everyone, I'm Vicky, and as Susie mentioned, I'm a whole food chef and a food coach, and I guess I'm here tonight to sort of share my passion for whole foods with you all, and to give you some really helpful practical tips that you can take home tonight and actually implement throughout the week so that you're starting on your whole food journey already. Taking away all the overwhelm, because I find that a lot of the people I work with are very overwhelmed with the information that they have out there about food, and my job to try and simplify that for you so that you can actually put it into action every day. So I guess this presentation was born out of the need to really get back to basics and to really get rid of all the clutter and the fuzziness around food and just get to the point. You know, what should I be eating? What should I not be eating? So that's what tonight's all about. Yes. Okay. I thought I'd start tonight with the 5 biggest food myths, because there are a lot of different conflicting bits of information out there, and these are the ones that probably through my training I found to be probably the most mind-boggling but also the most useful in my coaching. So the very first one there is that I was taught through my university degree as a health coach and exercise scientist that calories in versus calories out is all that matters. So all your Jenny Craigs and everything like that, all focus on calories. So it doesn't matter where the food comes from, as long as you're sticking within the calorie count, you're all good. So I have really found that is definitely untrue, and I'm sure I see a few nods of the head. So that's resonating with a few of you now, and I think that is a real shift that's come in the last few years, that it's definitely more about where you're sourcing your calories from as opposed to how many you have for the day. So myth buster number 1 is there. Number 2 is about the fact that dietary fat is the main cause of weight gain. And again, I found this to be untrue, because what do you all think that could be the main cause of weight gain, or that we're finding now? Is it fat? Sugar, absolutely. So sugar is definitely, and more specifically than that, it's refined sugar that's causing us so much damage, especially when it comes to weight gain. All sugar is bad for us. Who would say that that's true? Who would say that that's their understanding at the moment? No? And why is that? Do you mind being asked this? Absolutely, yes. And that's exactly what I'd like to really clarify today, is what sugars are okay to have. Of course, everything in moderation, and especially sugar and fats and those things. But really, all sugar is bad is a very untrue statement as well. We certainly can get a lot of nutrients and joy out of sugar, as long as it's not abused. Salt is detrimental to our health. Again, that's another one that's been sort of associated with negative health impacts in the way of increasing blood pressure. Again, I've brought in my pink Himalayan salt tonight, and we'll be talking about the amount of minerals actually present in a lot of the wholesome salts, as opposed to the refined ones. So they're the ones to really avoid. And all organic food is good, right? Do we think that maybe that would be true, or is there some exceptions to that as well? We'd think it would be true, wouldn't we? We really would. I mean, organic food is, organic sort of the buzzword, and so is whole food and all that. But really, I just wanted to clarify today as well that just because something in the package says organic on it does not necessarily mean it's healthy. Just like if something says it's gluten-free, doesn't mean it's healthy either. Okay, so really getting back to basics of what ingredients are in this packaged food. Looking literally at the back of the package, I always say to my clients, take 10% notice of the front of a packet. All right, 90% notice of what is the actual ingredients listed in that product, and then you really be getting the root cause or the actual nut of that ingredient. So 5 biggest food myths. Who would have said that they'd think all of those things would be true? Did you think maybe 1 or 2 of them?
Years ago.
But more recently, probably more along these.
We cover everything as a trainer as forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, very true. Okay. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background as to what a whole food chef and a food coach really means. So a whole food chef is, as Susie mentioned, I had the privilege of going over to WA and participating in an amazing whole food course. There's only one like it in Australia, and she herself was inspired, Jude, my lecturer, was inspired by a top-of-the-range course that's run in San Francisco every year in California. So there's literally only one course like it, and it really did cover a whole array of different topics. You know, for example, lacto fermentation, so fermentation good for the gut, etc. It covered the very basics of where we source food from, right through to how we prepare it and then how we eat it, because of course that is the whole food principle. So as a part of my sort of understanding beyond the course, I've put together this whole food wheel, which starts from sourcing food correctly and eating it in a way that, you know, supports good health as well. So most of us grab food out the door and away we are to work. We're eating on the way to work, or we're rushing. We're not actually sitting down and being mindful of what we eat. And Jude's, you know, philosophy was that actually the way that we eat is just as important as what we eat. So you can be eating the best organic produce and as seasonal and fresh as you like, but if you're eating it out the door and you're stressed when you're eating it, really that food's not going to have a huge benefit for you either. So this whole food rule really represents that. So sourcing, preparing and eating, you know, with mindfulness are all the important parts of food. So that's really what my philosophy is now. It's eating food as close to its natural state as possible, which is the definition of what whole food is. So not tampering with it or processing it as we see a lot of our food today. And as a food coach, I've had the privilege of working in a couple of different health retreats as a food coach, so presenting information like this to people that are really stressed out of their mind and they're overwhelmed with this information. And they need that one-on-one sort of coaching as well. I mean, we all have fitness coaches. That's a very common thing for people to have, but really a food coach is sort of just as important in that way, that we eat 3 times a day at least, if not 5 or more. And so knowing what to eat, when to eat, and how much of it is really important to our health. So that's what I can help people with. And I guess I see most of my clients that they're busy, they're really overwhelmed with information and they're stressed and they're just sort of lacking motivation, probably because they haven't stopped to reflect on their lifestyles for a little while and they're just sort of in that buzz. Can anyone relate to that? I've heard it described to people as you're a guinea pig on a wheel or a mouse on a wheel, and you just keep going round and round and round, and it seems to be Sunday more often than not. You blink and you've missed the week. So really stopping and reflecting and seeing what's working for you and what's not, and what challenges are you facing every week, and how can we maybe cut around those so that you're actually hitting your target every week and every day and every time you eat. You know, you're really working towards your goals. A lot of my clients are keen to learn as well. That's a really important one. And you're all keen to learn. You're all here tonight, which is awesome. There's a lot of people out there that are, you know, again, they're just going around and around and not stopping. And it's really great to see people that are stopping and just being mindful and nourishing your bodies as well. So what I can help with is to help to simplify healthy eating. And that basically means taking away the confusion, you know, getting back to writing a meal plan for yourself every week and making a shopping list from that meal plan and I can help to provide you with recipes that fit your lifestyle. I'm not going to give you recipes that are 20 ingredients long if you're a busy working mum, because that just doesn't work for you. And similarly, if you have a lot of time on your plate, having the quick, easy recipes might not suit you all the time either. You actually want to explore in the kitchen a little bit more. So it's really great to see those people as well. I can give support and accountability. So really checking in with my clients week after week and really saying what's worked for you in the plan and what hasn't, and redigging that. A lot of my clients ask ongoing recipes. The glitch balls work for me, and so did the raw slice, but maybe I actually need a couple more snacks up my sleeve. More of those. So that works really well as well. And also inspiration. So a lot of my Facebook page and my Instagram, I post up a new recipe every week. So to keep things fresh and to keep new ideas happening. And also, yeah, different, video clips and things like that that'll help to inspire you along the way, quotations and things like that. So I guess this evening it's my privilege to share with you what I've learned about a whole food pantry. And I'm going to show you some really good examples of that and some really bad examples of that as well through working with my clients. And also just finish off with a little bit about my whole food course as well that I've put together. So my training was spread over about 4 months, and it was very intensive every day, 9 to 5 hours and plus weekends as well. And I've condensed it, all the best parts of that into a 6-week course. And basically it takes an hour and a half a week, every week for that 6 weeks. And it's just, it's a much simpler way to learn, I guess, because it's a summary of all the best. So one of the things I wanted to share with you is that really, I'm not sure if you would agree, but really, if you look back over, a couple of generations ago, they were actually doing pretty well with all their food. We weren't really tampering with it all that much. They were having wholesome food. They certainly weren't walking into a supermarket like we are today. And their kids' lunchboxes probably look very, very different as well. And you might say that about your lunchboxes memories as kids compared to what you see some of them. Is anyone working in schools by any chance? Yeah. Your lunchboxes full of.
It can change. Watching everything.
Absolutely. That would have been very interesting to watch that progression. And, you probably would still see that gorgeous, clear-skinned, bright-eyed child that has all the whole food, lunchbox that's probably a bit embarrassed to share with everyone else that's ripping open their Snickers chips and muesli bars and things like that. But there's a lot of lunchbox really. And
I got those my kids stuff they'll eat at home, and then I start thinking in the lunchbox. And about yeah, and yeah, it's really sad to see getting
absolutely. Yeah, so there's a lot of change with children, and I really think that one of my biggest learnings is that really our children are our really biggest hope for getting us back on track with our health. And by teaching them where food comes from, giving them a connection with the food that they have in front of them when they eat, is probably the best way to do that. A lot of rushed parents, they probably put down plates in front of their children and say, eat your dinner, and, that's probably how most people do survive. And I totally get it, because it is such a fast-paced life that we're living in. But if a child has gone out and picked their own veggies and then helped mum spiralise some zucchini or do some shopping or peel the carrots, as little as that, they will have such a deeper connection with the food that they're having for dinner, and they probably will, eat their whole plate and without any stress in the evenings. I know meal times is quite stressful. So one of the programs I have run locally in Cabarita is a kids at farm day, and so children will come and see how chickens live and get all the eggs, and they'll, go and feed the cows and see what they eat, and then, we'll pick all the fresh veggies and we'll turn it into lunch. And that's been, with kids as young as sort of 3 and 5, right up to 15. So that's been a really fun program to be involved with, and very rewarding. And some of the kids that are eating, does anyone know what a spiralizer is? Yeah, with the zucchini? One of the things we were making up here was a noodle dish, basically, and we made our own avocado sort of sauce to go along with it. And one of the children was eating his strand of zucchini, like this, and his mum was just looking at him in disbelief. He said he's never, ever, ever eaten veggies before, and this is, goes to prove that really when they have that connection with picking their own zucchini and all the friends around them are doing it, then they'll sort of follow suit as well. So really it's about empowering adults as well and parents that they have such a big influence over their child's culture around food, and that is drawn into adult years as well. A lot of the clients that I work with that have weight issues, for example, don't have good childhood memories of food. You know, whatever reason that was, that mealtime wasn't a fun time, or, you know, it was a stressful occasion, you know, it's taken with them into adulthood. So kids are very, very important. So I have a question for you then. What is wrong with this image here? And what colours do you see there? It's all very artificial, isn't it? It's loaded with things like chemicals, sugars, and probably really cheap, nasty fats. And everything literally is coming out of a packet or a jar of you. So this is a couple of my clients I was working with, very kind to actually empty out their pantry for me, and it took a little bit of persuading, you know, but basically they were happy to share this as long as it helped other people to learn as well that this is actually the norm now. When people look in their freezers and pantries and fridges, they're pulling everything out of packets, cereal boxes and things like that. So it's a very big wake up to us that, as opposed to something that looks a lot like that, where the colours are already different, aren't they? They're sort of much more natural colours. There's a bit of freshness in there. Although it's not a perfect pantry, fridge, etc., it is a lot better. And this was just after a couple of sessions of working with them, and they were just ready for that, you know, absorbing. And I think one of the main things there is that they had just had a child, they had a little baby, and so they're kind of going, and they were quite overweight themselves. So they really sort of fed on, and they're doing really, really well now. So very, very good little success story for them. So I guess we'll launch now into a broader concept of what whole food is, and that is to eat locally and seasonally. And I guess one of the biggest benefits of doing that is that you're connecting with your environment. You know, by eating seasonally, you really got, if you go to a farmer's market and get their fresh veggies. Awesome if you can, and if you can't get there, then, you know, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's seasonal will give you the best health outcomes as well. I guess supporting local economy is another huge benefit of doing that, supporting our local farmers instead of going to Woolworths and Coles and things like that for our fruit and veggie, where, you know, they're getting the best price, basically. They're getting food that's been imported or transported a long, long way, and that actually puts the true cost of that food up. You know, you might be buying apples for $5.99 a kilo, but really, what's hidden behind that $5.99? It's travelled halfway across the country to be in Woolworths. You know what I mean? And then all the unregulated chemicals that are sprayed on these things to keep them looking fresh. Whereas when you go out to a farm store and they're picked fresh, there is no greater taste or look than that. And of course, you know, your body needs different nutrients at different times of the year as well. So in winter, we're really seeking that warmth and nourishment. You know, how good is soup or lamb shank soup or something like that, pumpkin soup in winter, because your body needs that long-lasting energy and slow-releasing starches, which are found in the root veggies, like your pumpkin and your parsnips, carrots, and things like that. I think that's really the main thing. Of course, you know, connecting with your local environment as well ensures that you're getting the freshest. It's the closest to harvest time. So we know that nutrients do decline at a fairly rapid rate after they're harvested or picked. And so by supporting your locals, you're also making sure that you're getting the best health outcomes as well. So lots of different benefits there. Oh, that's Michelle at the top there, who invited us out to her farm to share that experience with the children. So she's just so passionate, and she just radiates this positive energy through her. Isn't she gorgeous? Yeah, she really is the very inspiring farmer, definitely. And I think we should really all get to know our food producers as much as we can. So organic produce, I really wanted to, I guess, clear up tonight that organic is definitely it's a very desirable way to eat. Okay, and there's 3 different areas of benefit for you and for the environment, and also for any animals that we might be affecting in that way as well. So first of all, nutrients are on average about 20% higher in organic produce. So, you know, we're all taking supplements and multivitamins to try and up our, you know, nutrient intake. But really, if you actually just get good quality fruit and veg, you'll be getting that anyway. Of course, you know, nutrient absorption is hugely dependent on your gut health and everything like that as well. But in general, you want to give your body the best chance of health. Plus, you're also avoiding toxins because organic produce is free from pesticides, herbicides, etc., and they can have a huge impact internally on the body, especially on children as well. So another really great benefit of eating organically. Organic farmers generally do adopt sustainable environmental policies and procedures as well in terms of renewable sources of energy like water and things like that. And of course, our animals are treated in a much more ethical manner when they are raised organically. Okay, so that means that they're not pumped full of hormones or, you know, injected with antibiotics, because there's simply no need for hormones or antibiotics. Really, they're kept in sanitary environments. They're actually outdoors where they're meant to be, not in huge pens where, you know, they're basically living amongst other species and things like that. Really nasty. So I always say as well, when we are swapping to organics, it's not always possible to change everything at once because, of course, it can cost more. But the very first priority when choosing organic is any meats and animal fats. Does anyone know why that might be? No? When a cow, for example, is raised in a non-organic way and non-grass-fed or free-range, as we call it for chickens, in that kind of manner, they're injected with a huge amount of antibiotics because of their unsanitary living conditions, and they're also pumped full of hormones so that they're in and they're out and they're sold as soon as possible. So when an animal is exposed to all those toxins, just as we do, we store our toxins in our fat cells. And so if we're eating any animal fats, such as butter, is a great example, or the skin off a chicken even, you know, or, you know, you're having crackling or whatever. If you're eating non-organic meat, you're actually having a condensed version of that animal's toxins that they've been exposed to throughout their life. So really, that's first priority, okay? So anything that has fat from an animal there. And secondly, for similar reasons, is any full-fat dairy products. And I'm a big advocate of full-fat anything. I think as long as you're having it in moderation, it's definitely very beneficial for our bodies to have good, healthy fats. We'll be talking about that in a little while. But, you know, milk, yogurt, cheese and eggs, I'll be talking in a minute about some of the best brands that I recommend so that you can actually recognise them when you go shopping next as well. And they are written on your Simple Swaps outlines as well on the back of that page there. And thirdly is your fruits and vegetables. So has anyone heard of the Dirty Dozen before? Yeah. The Dirty Dozen is a list of the most highly sprayed fruits and veggies. So sprayed with chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all the things that are foreign to us and will actually be stored as toxins and contribute to poor health and weight gain and things we're trying to avoid. So the Dirty Dozen will basically be anything where you're not peeling an outer layer away from it. So you guys will give me a fruit or veggie that you can think of that you eat the whole of it. You don't actually peel away a skin. Strawberries, berries are huge, yeah? What else is there? Apple, carrots, lettuces. Beautiful. Yeah. So and compare that with something like a rock melon or a pineapple, where you're actually peeling away a layer and discarding it. That's where a lot of the chemicals go. Green leafies are absolutely in the most highly sprayed, definitely. So all your kale, spinach, silver beet, etc. If you can just buy a few things organically because you started running out low on budget for the week or whatever it might be, make those a priority. And then, you know, try and convert the rest a little bit later. They're definitely up there. All right. So it's time to get into our pantry items now. So I'm going to start off with salt. So is anyone a little bit cautious of the amount of salt that they're using? No? A little bit still? Health concerns or just sort of the information that... That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So even university you know, degrees do teach that, you know, really avoid salt. That's why low salt is sort of promoted in so many packaged items. But what I try and look for is actually unsalted anything, because I like to think of it as I'd like to put my best quality salt on something. You know what I mean? So when I'm buying rice crackers, for example, because I'm having a busy week coming up, I'll be looking for the unsalted variety because I don't want to be using the bad quality salts. Anything white, okay, so white salt has been refined compared to something like that, full of nutrients. So that's what you can really sort of, it's quite a good rule to go by. Anything white, it should really be white flour, white sugar, white salt. It still has the minerals taken out and then, you know, bleach or chemicals or anything added back in, and they're the things you want to avoid. So there is a little bit of an exception to that, and that's the Celtic salt. Does anyone know that one? So it's sort of, it's the far left-hand side and the far right. The left side is much more coarse, and the right is a little bit finer, but don't worry, it doesn't affect the mineral content so much. But really, Celtic sea salt actually has the highest mineral content of all salts, okay? And it's over 104 different minerals present in that salt. So when you're sprinkling your salt over your poached egg in the morning, or, you know, your avocado toast, you're actually adding minerals to your meal. And obviously it's in moderation, but I think the Himalayans is something like 84 different minerals. So it's still up there, it's still really, really high. I like to use a bit of a variety. Has anyone heard of Gamasio before? It's a really great way to salt your food, and it's actually using a flaked sea vegetable like dulse. Has anyone heard of that? The sea vegetable is a seaweed, comes from the ocean, full of nutrients, and it's actually mixed in brown with some sesame seeds as well. So you've got a third salt, a higher mineral salt, a third sesame seeds, and then a third of your sea minerals. So you're actually getting the salty benefit with all these other alkalizing properties and different minerals as well. So Gamasio is one that we always had at our health retreats because it's a great healthy alternative or a salty addition to your meal. So any questions about salt? No? Everyone have those sort of salts in your pantries already? Usually the I haven't seen it in many. It's probably one if you've got a mortar and pestle, try and sum up yourself, or even if you can't grind it, just, you know, make a little jar of it and use that. But it is really nice when the sesame seeds, you know, sort of break apart and become a bit finer. Plus sesame seeds are very, very high in calcium as well, as are the sea minerals. So people taking all these vitamin C supplements, you know, having a little bit of that on your meals is great. All right, so our next one here is bread, because bread is such a staple, especially if you've got kids or men in the house. So I get asked a lot, what is the whole craze with sourdough? So my dad's actually a baker, and he always made true sourdough. He grew up in a bakery, and it was just always awesome because, and he's German, and in Germany they only do it this way. Just like with beer, they only do it the naturally fermented way. And in fact, I've just heard recently it's actually a rule that none of their beer can leave the country unless it's naturally fermented, and it can't even be brewed in that way. So if only we had the same sort of laws over here, would be much, much healthier. But a true organic sourdough is made using, albeit a gluten grain, it's organic, and it's actually undergone a natural fermentation process. So fermentation is the process of sugar being consumed and converted into lactic acid. So sugar is consumed, so when you consume this product, you're not eating the sugar, you're actually eating the lactic acid. And the lactic acid is what repopulates all the good bacteria in your gut. So by eating a true sourdough, you're really helping out your gut because you're eating partially digested wheat groats. Okay, so you can think of sourdough as stage 1 of digestion. So this is what a sourdough looks like over here. It's very holy and gappy, and you can tell that it's a true one by actually smelling it and smelling that sour sort of smell. And has anyone had a beautiful crunchy loaf of sourdough? Especially when it's been freshly baked. However, there are a lot of imitations out there as well, and as with all food products, you know, everyone's trying to sort of jump on the bandwagon of, you know, a sourdough to a sourdough. But this natural fermentation process takes about 3 days, not 5. So a lot of them are trying to cut the corner and they add yeast to make it leaven or rise instead of using this natural fermentation process. So when you're asking about a sourdough, the question to ask is, does it have yeast in it? And the answer you're looking for is no, okay? Because that means it really has truly gone through that process. Does that make sense to everybody? If you're not eating a true sourdough, you're basically eating a normal loaf of bread, which is, can still be healthy if you can tolerate gluten and things like that. But certainly a better priority, especially for kids and eating lots of bread every day for their lunchboxes, is a true sourdough. So just ask around at your local bakeries and see who does it. Soul bread. Does anyone know that brand? Yep. Gluten-free is one thing that I find a lot of my clients need to revert to, because the number one aggravating factor for us without food is gluten, and it contributes to bloating and gas and weight gain and all these other undesirable health outcomes. So Soul do a beautiful range of gluten-free breads, and they're made right here in Byron Bay, just down the coast. So you'll be getting them all through your health food stores, no doubt. And they have a few really nice breads, a rice and pumpkin one, I think. But of course, the whole food principle is really, if you can make it something yourself, you are really ticking all the boxes, because you're governing exactly what goes in. You govern the quality of your flour that you choose, the quality of your salts, etc. So there are a couple of recipes that, if you'd like me to send them to you, I'm more than happy to. And these are recipes that I make on a regular basis, especially the pumpkin rice bread, which is the one down the bottom here. It's made using almond meal and rice flour instead of a wheat flour. And actually it's got 2 cups of grated pumpkin in it. So a lot of it is really hearty. It doesn't toast overly well when you toast it. It doesn't matter. You just grill it when you want to toast it. And, it's loads of eggs as well. So but it's not one of those paleo loaves that has 12 eggs. It's just got 4 eggs, so it's quite reasonable. But you really are getting a great dose of protein and healthy fats, and also some veggies in there as well. So if you'd like, in a moment, I'll pass around a book and you can pop your email down and I'll be happy to send you through that recipe. And the other one here is an activated seed loaf. So who here has heard of the process of activation? Activating, yeah. So activation is something that we try and do to nuts, seeds and grains to improve their digestibility. And so one of the main things that we're removing there is phytic acid, which is something we can't see, but it certainly is present around every nut, seed and grain. And if we were to eat unactivated products with phytic acid, we might experience a lot of bloating and wind and things like that. So if you're having a lot of problems with your gut, I highly recommend activating all of your nuts, seeds and grains before you eat them or cook them. And this loaf here is just basically seeds. It's very dense. It's still a great bread alternative. You could definitely toast it or have the avocado on it or whatever, but you're not getting that gluten hit, and you're certainly not getting that bloating feeling after bread. So there's also a really nice one where you can make it a little bit flatter and actually have it as a cracker as well. So quite an inexpensive loaf as well when you're using things like sunflower seeds and things like that. You're nodding. Yeah. Very good. So does anyone have any questions on bread before we go on? No? Okay, beautiful. So milk is another staple, right? So we all sort of tend to have milk throughout the week, and a lot of people do struggle to digest lactose, which is the sugar that's present in milk. Okay, now we're all born with the ability to break down lactose by having the enzyme lactase as a child, as a baby, but a lot of us lose that into adult years. We lose that ability to produce that enzyme. So as a result, we feel bloated and nauseous and sick when we have dairy, and I'm definitely one of them. So I've got a really great alternative for you, and that is making your own homemade activated nut. And really, the process of doing that is shown just down the bottom here, but it's just soaking your almonds overnight, straining off the water, and then blending them with fresh water, fresh filtered water, and that's it. If you strain them through a cheesecloth like this or a muslin wrap, you've got beautiful homemade almond milk that, lasts 3 or 4 days in your fridge, and you can just replace that with any other calcium. So that is, does anyone in the room not tolerate lactose very well, or is everyone sort of through and through calcium? Yeah, okay, wasting my breath on that one. All right, well, it's still a really good one if you can't access really good quality milks. And I have put a couple of brands up here that I really recommend. They're fantastic organic dairy farmers. One of them is from South Australia, and that's Paris Creek, if you've ever seen that one. And the reason why I like these two, the other one's Barrenbar, is because they not only do organic, but they do an unhomogenized milk. Okay, so what does that mean? What does unhomogenized mean?
I don't know, I just drink it.
You just drink
nice cream.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So how do you deal with that situation when there's cream on top and you just want to get the milk? Either eat the cream separate or shake it up. It's awesome. That's the answer. So by shaking a milk with the cream layer on top, you are actually homogenizing milk naturally. Okay, so you're mixing together the cream layer with the liquid layer, and you've got beautiful thick creamy milk. But what we've come to over the years is that people don't like that creamy layer. It's a little bit off-putting, which is crazy because that is how it comes naturally, right? So what they've done is that they have homogenized milk by using big machinery that totally destroys all the healthy fats. Okay, so it combines the fat layer with the liquid layer, and so when you open it, it's ready, you know. But in doing so, they really do harm the natural fats that are present. So you're losing a lot of the benefits. Plus, when they do that, they're actually oxidizing the fats, which becomes a toxin to your body. So unhomogenized milk is the way to go, and these are the two brands that do it really well. There are a couple of others.
Yes. Sometimes when you're in that rush and you don't but you've got your options in there of your organic and also those ones. But that's now isn't going
it's gone
out, then you've got the high liquid ultra homogenizing macros.
Okay.
Just like
ultra homogenized.
Yeah.
Wow, I've seen that one. It would be very watery.
Then the Norco does do an unhomogenized. So with your choices over organic and unhomogenized.
I still have these when I go. See, because Dave, my partner, still drinks milk, so I try and get him the best quality. But if I find myself in a rush and I'm in the supermarket getting the toilet paper and all the rest, and I need milk at the time, well, sometimes I go to that fridge as well. It's definitely a little bit of a battle in my mind too, Susie. Look, I would, in that instance, have you seen Paul's? It's probably about that colour.
Yeah,
the 1 litre carton. Has anyone seen that?
Yeah, the wax carton.
So look for that one. It's usually right down the bottom, right at the back, and it's unhomogenized and organic as well, just in a carton though, not in a 2 litre sort of plastic thing. I don't really have an answer for you, Susie. I think at the end of the day, I'd probably still go with organic. But that's what we've got in our fridge at the moment, I will admit, is that we've got an organic milk that's homogenized, so it's just a one-off saga. That's what I would do with organic. Yeah. The other alternatives for you as well, if you're not having dairy, or if you know someone or you've got a child that's lactose intolerant, there's a couple of different milks there. One's a rice milk and one's a coconut rice. Do you drink a lot? Your harvest, yes. That's the brand to look for when you're looking for alternative milk. You can, almond milk. Has anyone ever tried almond milk or gone to that because they think it's a healthy alternative? Sure. I think a lot of us have done that at one point. Just wanted to make a mention about almond milk, but a lot of the times there's 3% of almonds and a whole lot of sugar and a whole lot of destroyed damaged fats and a whole lot of water, really. So almond milk is unfortunately not one that you can really buy readily that's whole foody, whereas a rice and a coconut milk, they're available for you. So I'm still looking out for one that comes out that has, 25% almonds. That's how you make it when you make it fresh. But of course, almonds are expensive, so that's just trying to keep the dollar down, which is unfortunate. If you're going to have a nut milk, I highly recommend trying it out yourself. Very, very easy. I think even just talking to you, it still seems a bit difficult, but really when you see it made, it is just so easy. It takes about 2 minutes.
The website, I've never actually
You've got a family.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tell you to do it. Yeah. But do you know any links that could try making it?
Funny you should ask that.
My friend can go look at it.
Yeah. Funny you should ask that. I'm actually creating a whole food hub, which is going to have cooking demos and things like that that are really basic and easy. So that'll be launched in about another 2 months. So definitely stay in touch. But in the immediate future,
YouTube will have it.
YouTube should have
make one.
the Thermix communities. They might have new videos now. So. Very, very good. Okay, let's move on. So other forms of dairy like cheese and yogurt. So I highly recommend a plain and full fat yogurt. The Baramba and Yauna actually do a really good one, biodynamic, which is actually a step above organics in that they enrich their soil. So really looking at the sourcing of food. Anything that comes out of that soil or eats the grass that's grown in that soil, like a cow, is going to be much more nutrient rich than, I mean, that's, you know, the soil is basically depleted. So biodynamics, you see that #1, okay? And Yauna, that's available in Woolies, and then that one is. The 5 AM, that's quite a good one as well, plain. And then if you're up for a little bit of a different creature there's a sheep yogurt or even a goat yogurt if you're really, really explorative and adventurous. Not for me personally, but, you know, the sheep yogurt we actually used to serve at Cabarita Ocean Health Retreat, and the guests loved it. That's our time. Yes, yeah. So again, if you're avoiding lactose, coconut yogurt's a great one. Yeah, that's available in Woolies and any stores as well. I find there's a lot of different coconut yogurts coming out at the moment. It's like the buzz thing at the moment. There's literally, I think, 5 new brands in the last month. They are very expensive.
You don't need to buy that anyway. You just want to have like a little bowl. Yeah.
Really inexpensive way to replicate yogurt with a coconut product is just coconut cream. Just scraping the top off coconut cream, you know, in a tin, and or you make your own coconut cream if you're feeling really, yeah.
Yeah.
If you are time poor, or if you found yourself, you know, in a bit of a rush that week, yes, they are. But there's a brand that I recommend over anyone else, and that's called AYAM, AYAM, and it's purely just the coconut. The rest of them, they're very small tins, but they're quality. You know, you open it up and I've got literally nothing else. Yeah, definitely. So a lot of the others have literally about 60% coconut and then stabilizers, which take coconut.
A lot of your creams.
Scary, isn't it? How much is going in? So the other one there is cheese. So Paris Creek and Baramba do a great variety of cheeses, and you know, without all the extra chemicals and additives that really thin it out, I guess, as well. Plus, think about the ethical treatment of those animals as well. Grazing on green grass, and, you know, treated humanely. That's really, in my opinion, that's what we should be supporting when we're nourishing our bodies, and it's the best way to nourish your body as well. So you're getting that double. All right, so that's your dairy done. Sugar, I'm going to have a little bit of a getting this on it for you. Real little wake up, I think. And again, I really do believe that it's the kids that are getting the real brunt of this sugar, because it's just absolutely everything these days. In fact, if they remove, yeah, sorry. There you go. Sorry, guys. So, if we removed everything from the supermarket that contains sugar, added sugar, only 20% of the items in a supermarket would remain. Anyone seen that sugar film? Yeah. Most of you, all of you. That image is so powerful, isn't it? Where they've got a supermarket and then literally everything's getting plucked out because it's got sugar in it. So really, the only way to get around this is to cook with whole foods and cook it yourself, or choose products that don't have 10 different ingredients in it. If you're looking for nuts, you're looking for seeds, they don't have any flavouring or anything added to them, they're just plain. Same with yogurts as well. So 25% of the children in Australia are now either overweight or obese. Our children, that's not going into adult years at all. That is just so alarming to me, and that is just, it's predicted to be way over 50% as well in the next coming years. So, absolutely. Absolutely, we always put them first, but now actually it's us Aussies. You know, we've got access to so many amazing farms and produce, but we're not accessing it. We're simply not supporting them really enough to keep them around. And that's the thing, they will start to decline if we don't give them the business. You know, at the end of the day, they've already got enough other things like environmental factors and insects and all that they've got to deal with, particularly when they're growing organic. They can't control that with chemicals like other things. So, very interesting. So, and this just baffles me. 8-year-olds have now consumed an entire lifetime worth of sugar of what our previous generations would have had by the time that they're 8. It's just, yeah, very, very scary. So, there's a couple of examples down the bottom here that, you know, I think would probably be quite common, or they have been in the past. You're starting your day with some wheat bix and yogurt, maybe even taking in some white bread for your lunches, if not having toast for breakfast as well. Donut for recess, and maybe a Coke with lunch. That is just staggering. You know, the amount of, it's refined sugar as well. That's the problem with that, is that it's not wholesome sugars, it's all refined. And what is it really mainly that we're worried about with sugar? What effect does it have on us really straight away when it's refined? Does anyone know? Yep. Blood sugar levels spike, and the insulin is then released to bring it back down to a healthy level. So if we're constantly having that spike, and then not to mention the big drop-off, which is what your energy does as well, if you've noticed, is that we're leading ourselves straight into the hands of diabetes. All right, and diabetes is so huge in Australia now as well. So, and especially when we're looking at it, a little child's body, you know, putting them through that as well, it's just not right. So what we really need to do is be loading our pantry full of wholesome sweeteners and using that when we're making our cookies and our biscuits and our, you know, muffins for them, and banana breads, and even sweetening things like, you know, if they do choose to have wheat bix or something, at least having wholesome sweeteners on top of that, you know, is a huge step up from having the old white sugar. So I brought in today, and I'm happy to pass around, Rapadura, which is an evaporated cane sugar. So it actually comes from the same plant as our white refined off to the side, but it's just that it's been treated in a different way. Okay, so this has been left whole. It's literally just been evaporated and then. Okay, as opposed to the white refined stuff that's been, you know, stripped of all the goodness and then bleached and then fine. So how's that?
That's a good point you say. You would never go with the bleach.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much bleach.
Absolutely. The fats that we have, there's a process called
Margarine.
Yeah, margarine. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Refining, bleaching, and deodorizing fats and calling them like margarine. Right.
Yeah.
That's my stuff. So brown sugar is one to mention here as well. So brown sugar can be very, very deceiving. So brown sugar can actually be white sugar that's been dyed back to a earthy looking brown. This is what we look for, right?
And brown bread.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. They're very, very, very sneaky. You know, really carefully, you know, source of that food. So that one there is Rapadura. Has anyone got that in their pantry already or used it before? It's a really great one to use sort of when you're doing a one-for-one swap. With, you know, if you're transferring a recipe from, you know, our Woman's Weekly that might use plain sugar, that's a great one to just do a one-to-one swap. Although I always recommend reducing to about 2/3 of the amount because often you don't actually need it. Well done. Let's go. I used to have to see the cafes before they sit down. They have coconut sugar. This is one of the ones down now. They actually look very similar. That's why I wanted to have them in clear glass jars because you're looking for that earthy brown. It does look different to brown sugar though. If you have a really close look, you said it's brown sugar. Yep. It's coconut sugar. Coconut sugar. The third one on the list.
And now it's just together. Pretty much
So coconut sugar is another great one. No, molasses is a great one. Molasses. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Yep. Very, very, very fine. Yes. Beautiful. Some of those really strong, like really punchy fruit cakes and things like that. You know how they have those sort of wedding cakes and things like that? They're really quite dense ones. They will use molasses. Really, because you don't need much to accompany dried fruit, but that just gives it a really this could go on, but I'm trying to give you sort of 4 or 5, you know, that you can kind of have in your pantry that you use for everyday things. For me, molasses is the high mineral one. It's probably not in everyday use one like what you do during coconut milk. So yeah, don't worry about that. The next one that we have, I don't have here today, but it's a rice malt syrup and actually looks very similar to honey. That's not in your head, it's great. A really great sweetener. It's actually got no fructose, which is one of the ones that can be really detrimental, especially for the diabetic itself. And it's great all-rounder, really, if you're looking for a syrup. The next one is a maple syrup. And what you're looking for with maple is 100% maple, because what they do is they put, you know, a little bit of maple and then a whole lot of glucose and straight sugar, and it's just crazy. Because maple syrup is quite expensive. It's one of the more expensive ones. And it is imported, so it's not a local, but, you know, it's one, I think, to have in moderation. And I think the rice malt's probably a really good one, though. It's actually quite sweet as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Whereas maple, I like.
Canadians are alright.
I'm a Canadian.
Me too. But definitely that's in the baking section of Woolworths as well, if not in your whole food store. So rice malt's great. Honey, you know, what's the buzz with honey? Well, excuse the pun. So honey, the main thing to watch for here is to have raw honey. Okay? And the reason for that is that honey has medicinal properties as it is in its whole state, and that is that it's antibacterial, and it actually provides you with live enzymes. What does an enzyme do? Anyone know? It helps you to break down food, which is what you need before your food gets to the gut and then all the nutrients are absorbed. If you're having whole food items pass through there, well, you're going to get blockages, and you're also not going to be really getting the most out of food. They say that you are what you eat, but I definitely believe more so that you are what you absorb. So, you know, if you're not getting the nutrients out of food that you're putting in, you know, you really need to have a good look at what's going on here. And as a sufferer of IBS for about 8 years, I definitely know what you go through. It's not fun. And this one was from a parasite from some chicken in Bali. And it's actually at a cooking demo, funnily enough. And I really think that it stemmed from that, but it also was exacerbated by an overuse of antibiotics without knowing the real detriment that it causes in the gut. So anyway, going back to enzymes, having raw honey is a really great way to help your body out, breaking apart food, and also warning off any foreign invaders. So if you've got a sore throat, actually a lemon and honey tea is a really great one to have. Although Ayurvedically, it said don't heat honey too hot. Like don't put it into boiling water, put it into sort of water. So that's honey. So that's all our sugars. I mean, that one's a Byron Bay honey. No, this one was from a health food store.
Oh, okay, so there's Byron Bay honey brands.
Probably different.
That's my vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing you're looking for is raw. Yeah. And the other word for raw is cold treated or cold processed. I was giving this talk once, and we had a bee keeper in the crowd, and he said, well, it can be cold processed too, so watch out for that. So yeah, it means the same thing basically. And the last one is a date paste. So, you know, don't go past using fruits or dates or dried figs as your sweetening element in a muffin or cake or something like that as well. You don't always have to have a sweetener. So that's sugar, all right? And I think really the main things to point out with the detrimental effects of refined sugar are the predisposition or the higher risk factor for diabetes, but also the fact that if you're having an excess of refined sugar, your body's just going to store it as fat. And so if you're trying to, especially if you're trying to lose weight, a lot of the Jenny Craigs and things like that, they are light and easy, they all have loads of sugar in them. It's not a good source of food at all. It's not a whole food. So it's quite amazing that they're still around, really, and I think it's not too long before things like that sort of go out of fashion. All right. What's that? Yeah, exactly. We go starve ourselves. Sure, but who wants to do that? That's one thing I really don't like using, is to go on a diet, or immediately the words that you associate with diet are restrictive and not nice. So it's a lifestyle change. It's about having healthy, wholesome food. And I always say to my clients as well, what I suggest you to do next week is what I want you to do in 15 years. It's not something that will change necessarily. You might tweak it based on, you know, intolerances or whatever along the way, but really it's a lifestyle change. All right, so let's talk about fats and oils. Can I ask everyone in the room what they usually cook with? Is it olive oil? Yeah, cold press. That rice bran oil. Okay. Yeah. What else is it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that's really important to understand about fats and oils is that they are vulnerable molecules. They're really, really vulnerable. They have a smoke point, which is an upper limit of the temperature that you can take them to, and beyond that, they can oxidize and go rancid and actually become toxic to your body. They can then create free radical damage and fast aging, as well as a whole array of negative health outcomes in your body. So what we need to do is respect fats and oils and include them in our diet, but actually treat them in a really mindful way as well. And this is the reason why I've shared with you what the smoke points of the top 4 cooking oils that I recommend are. And notice that olive oil isn't in that list. And the reason for that is because it has a lower smoke point. It's plain and simple. Because it's not as widely usable as the rest of these. So If you imagine you're frying up an egg in the morning, your fry pan might get to maybe 180, 190. And if you're doing really high end, maybe over 200 degrees on that hot pan. So you need to make sure that anything that goes onto that has a smoke point that can accept that temperature. So ghee is the highest. I'm going to pass it around for you now. Also maybe 5A. Okay, you notice the price tag on it. Yeah, it's basically $20 for a little thing like that. But it is said to be one of the highest quality fats that you can have in your diet, because what ghee is it's clarified butter, okay? And that means that the lactose, which is the sugar component, and also the casein, which is the protein component, they're removed. So they can be quite problematic in a lot of people. So by having ghee, actually, I can tolerate ghee and I don't tolerate a lot of lactose very well. But that's a really great way to still have all those beautiful nutrients from butter without the problems of lactose. So you don't need a lot. Plus the flavour of it's just awesome. I mean, you know, you can't really go by butter, can you? It's an awesome fat to use, and I'm all pro butter, by the way. If we didn't clear up early, I'm definitely pro butter and anti margarine. But we're all up that level already, so I won't go there. But yeah, so ghee can tolerate the highest temperatures, 230 degrees. So you're well into stir frying. Stir frying, yes, or macadamia oil is another good one. Yeah. And for roasting, yes, yes. A lot of these oils would be great for your skin. I know a lot of people that use coconut oil on their skin, you know, facial moisturizers and things like that. Macadamia oil is an awesome oil. It's very high in monounsaturated fats, which are very beneficial to the body as long as they're treated right. Macadamia oil also doesn't have a strong flavour, so I find it's great for any cuisine, you know, whereas something like coconut oil, if you're cooking Mediterranean, it's kind of weird. You want to stick to your kind of Asian or curries or Thai kind of flavours, but macadamia oil is good across the board. No strong flavour, and also it's liquid at room temperature, so it's more convenient. We're always looking for convenient ways of cooking. Butter, 175 on par with coconut oil. So when you're doing your roasting or your stir fries or your high-end cooking, these two are just, they don't quite make the temperature cut-off point, so they're not great oils to use. Now olive oil, yes, it's awesome oil to have, and I have olive oil in my cupboard all the time, but it's more beneficial to use that for probably cold uses like salad dressings or you know, lower end baking. I know a lot of the dairy-free options use olive oil or macadamia oil, or alternatively for, you know, sauteing, so really light end. Walnut, hemp seed, chia and flax, they're all very, very vulnerable fats. And you might also, if you've seen these in a health food store, they're always in the fridge because they're highly likely to oxidize and change structure. So, for example, a flaxseed should always be kept in the fridge. If you go into Woolworths and you see flaxseed oil on the shelf, you're probably going to be buying a toxic oil right from the start. So, the best chance at getting it home and taking care of it by buying it from a good source. Sure, sure. Yeah. Just how would you describe the smell? It's toxic. When you smell an oil,
fresh,
yeah,
or smell the actual what it's made.
That's right.
In there, but it doesn't have that smell.
Sure. Yeah. When you smell a product, it should smell like the origin that it came from. So olive oil should actually smell like olives, and coconut oil should always smell like coconut. If it's more refined than that, it will, or it's oxidized, you won't smell that. So obviously you can't go around opening all bottles in Woolies. You probably wouldn't be the best customer there. They might escort you pretty quickly, but certainly when you get home, you could always do that. And especially if you've been storing oils for a long time as well, you know, just to make sure that they're not rancid and Yeah. Yep. Unless you get through it. But there are chains of belief that olive oil can be used for cooking if it's fresh, if it's literally straight from the the farm and it's cold press and it's not being tampered with a lot. There are a lot of, even in the health street, they used to use olive oil, but they knew they could get it really fresh. So by the time we've all kind of got to it, we'll probably find it's not as fresh as that. So just maybe stick to those other ones. They're all on your sheet on the back there as well. All right, so does anyone have any questions from what we've talked about? Do you feel like you've got a good understanding of like the staples in a pantry and a fridge? So I guess I just wanted to offer you all a bit of guidance around the support that I can offer you. If you're feeling tired all the time, you're feeling exhausted, and you feel really, really good when you're on track, but you just can't seem to stay there without, really working with someone. My 90-minute initial consultations include a real thorough look at your lifestyle, at your goals, what you're wanting to get out of the next 6 months, the challenges that you have in staying on track, really looking at, what night of the week are you most pushed? You've got 3 things to do after work and you just don't have time to cook. Those are the types of things that they're the level of detail that I find I need to get to with people, because otherwise you give people a sheet and you go, good luck with the meal plan, but it's not realistic. So really getting down to the challenges that you have and trying to find ways to overcome that. And having a look at any poor health or undesirable symptoms that you might be having. A lot of my clients also say that they're just dealing with bloating on an everyday basis. Just unbelievable how many women especially, and because we all hold our stress here, and we've all had that exposure to antibiotics and we're all eating a lot of processed food, it's very common to have poor gut health. So one of the things that I can help you as well is to get you brewing at home, things like your own homemade kefir, and Candy does your own kombucha as well. No, sorry, Susie. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, it's trendy again. It's trendy again. Awesome. Oh, if they like your little pets, aren't they? You want to keep them warm at night. So really, yeah, just adopting some new routines and drinking things like this. This one's super easy. I've tried it with kombucha as well, but I find this is the easiest. This is kefir, and it's passion fruit kefir. And so remember that they eat sugar, these grains, which aren't in this one because that's at home brewing. But this is the second ferment where you make it fizzy and delicious. So you put flavouring and you get it fizzy. This one's passion fruit flavour, and it's feeding on a fig, a dried fig at the moment, and that makes it really fizzy. But this is my mum, everyone. she tried some of this morning, nearly popped all the way to the roof. So lucky it's strapped on, but that's a sign of a really good fermented drink when they're really fizzy. That's when you know they're really going to go in and do the nourishing goodness. So sauerkrauts, things like having fermented foods in your diet, trying to find a way to fit it all in can be really overwhelming because you want to do 20 things at once, but really honing in on what's going to be the most beneficial to you. And also having a look at your food habits. So a lot of my initial consult is around how do you eat and where do you eat, and the timings of that and the mindfulness of that, and really sort of reflecting on how we can iron out the bad habits. In front of TV every night. While it is a relaxing way to do it, it's much more beneficial, obviously, to eat in company and debrief on the day and be mindful of the food that you're having rather than unconscious, eating something and overeating probably then as well. So overeating is definitely one that I see a lot as well, and in times of stress or in times of feeling rushed and things like that, that obviously comes to a peak, and you probably all can resonate with that. So trying to find some survival techniques through those periods as well, and trying to identify when that's coming up so that you can have some good things in the fridge that when you open up you go, oh, hummus and dip, and here we go, healthy snack day, especially during those times. And you do receive a personalised list of meal suggestions. I call it a meal plan because you all know what that means, but really I don't do this for you. I don't plug in what you eat on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday, because I feel that that's your privilege to get to do that for you and your family. But I help to give you a list of the dinners that are good for you and nourishing your goals and also your intolerances and things like that. So in this initial one, you'll have about 15 different recipes, and they've all been collected by me and tweaked and things like that to make them really healthy, but also tasty. You know, food should be a joyous occasion, and it's just shouldn't be a diet, shouldn't be a stressful time in your family's life. It should be a joyful time, and so really getting you to connect back to that as well. And also ongoing support, that accountability. You know, I've worked with probably about over 100 clients in food capacity through my time working at Health Treats and also with locals. And literally, it's the ones that I keep in touch with that really make those differences, because otherwise you're just back to crazy life and it'll take over again. So yeah, having someone to work with, feeling supported and nurtured as well, because we all like to be nurtured, even though we're probably mums and things like that ourselves. All right, and then the next one I'd love to share with you is, you've all got the outline on your pieces of paper there. So as I mentioned at the start, those that are hungry for more information about all of this, there's so much to learn, but this course is a way to really simplify facts for you so that you have got resources that you can refer back to for years and years to come. You've got really healthy recipes and even little demonstrations along the way. So this course does take place in Pottsville, which is in my home. And I invite you into my home so that you can actually learn together in a small environment, but also then watch some demos, because I've got my kitchen and all my resources right there. So this one's going to be starting in June. And as you can see, you've got a whole variety of, the very first module is literally looking at whole foods, each and every one of these pieces, and piecing it together for you. So you have a thorough and very holistic look at what whole foods is. Gut health is my next two modules because they are so critical to overall health. So having a really good look at what is involved in digestion, and then how can we aid digestion and have, you know, the best nutrient absorption possible. Then we have a look at gluten and fermentation and dairy in a lot more detail. So what is it that can be so problematic about gluten and dairy, and how can we avoid that from happening? Sugar, so much deeper look at the effects of sugar, much deeper physiologically, so that you know when you're talking about sugar to people, you don't just go, oh, it spikes the blood sugar level, and you know, that's great to know, but it is much greater when you have that deeper level of understanding as well, because you literally, it will put you off your next Malteser, let me tell you. You know, you'll see that Snicker bar and you'll go, no, not for me, because you know the effect that it will have and the effect that it has on your addiction levels as well. Inflammation is one thing that I think is really good for everyone to have a better understanding of. So a lot of our diseases are caused because of this inflammation and acidity in the body. And if we can create a healthy body without the inflammation and with an alkaline environment, disease actually can't live in that environment. No disease can live in that. So you really are, you know, it's preventative. It's preventing things from happening in the future. And although you might have had years of, you know, poor routine or whatever, it's like, let's look to the future now. This is what you've got, that it is in your control. Looking at organics and fats and oils in much more detail. And also then it's pulling it all together and looking at how to meal plan. So really giving you a whole module on the best ways to plan your meals for the week. And it seems really basic, but actually by doing that, you are so well equipped to then plan ahead for your weeks. And it's 100% of the time the clients that are doing the meal planning, and in some cases even noting down what they actually eat, they're doing the best 100% of the time. And the components of a healthy meal as well. We'll talk about sea vegetables and ferments, and we'll talk about, you know, healthy fats and oils from other sources as well, and how all of those combine to create your perfect, ideal, balanced meal. A lot of the time we're skipping a lot of that as well. All right, so that's the course, and as I said, it's just a summary of that huge course that I did. And I would love to offer you guys a free food coaching session if you decide that you'd like to learn more. And so that will obviously give you that the real connection with what you're learning as well. So if gut health does get identified as one of your key areas of concern, you know, really when we're learning about gut health, I can make that very specific as well. Here's a couple of testimonials quickly from ladies that I have worked with before. So really changing the way that they look at food, completely changing the way that they go shopping and how they cook and how they eat as well. So much more mindful, and they're all great words because, you know, it's really empowering to be able to nourish your body and nourish your kids and family as well. Very, very empowering.